The cake's candles flickered like mocking eyes as my father's hand slammed the envelope onto the table, the sharp crack echoing through the dining room like a gunshot. "Happy birthday, son," he snarled, his voice dripping with venom that he'd bottled up for years. Inside was a one-way ticket to nowhere, some godforsaken town in the Midwest, far from our family's sprawling estate in the Hamptons. My mother averted her eyes, fiddling with her pearl necklace, while my sister, Elena, smirked from across the table, her perfectly manicured nails tapping a rhythm of triumph. I was 28 and they were kicking me out like yesterday's trash. The room spun, the scent of vanilla frosting turning sour in my throat, as rage boiled up from my gut, hot, unfiltered fury that made my fists clench under the tablecloth. They had no idea I was worth billions, hidden in offshore accounts from the tech empire I'd built in secret. But in that moment, all I felt was the raw sting of betrayal, like a knife twisted in my chest by the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally. I stared at the ticket, the cheap paper crinkling under my fingers, printed with a departure time for tomorrow morning. "What the hell is this?" I managed, my voice cracking despite my effort to keep it steady. The dining room, with its crystal chandelier casting fractured light on the polished mahogany, felt suddenly claustrophobic, the air thick with the aroma of roasted lamb growing cold on our plates. My father, Richard Hargrove, leaned back in his chair, his silver hair impeccably combed, eyes cold as steel. He was a self-made man in real estate, or so he claimed, though I'd long suspected his deals skirted the edges of legality. "It's your future, Alex," he said flatly, no warmth in his tone. "You've been leeching off us long enough. No job, no ambition, just drifting like a ghost in this house. Time to grow up or get out." Humiliation washed over me in waves, my cheeks burning as if slapped. I'd played the part of the aimless son perfectly, hiding my success to avoid their greedy grasps. At 22, I'd coded an AI algorithm that revolutionized data encryption, selling it anonymously to tech giants and investing the proceeds into a shadowy network of startups. By 25, I was a billionaire, but I'd kept it buried under layers of proxies and false identities. Why? Because I'd seen how money twisted them. My father's affairs funded by ill-gotten gains, my mother's silent complicity, Elena's endless demands for luxury. I wanted to reveal it on my terms, perhaps to help them genuinely. But now this heartbreak clawed at me, a deep, aching void where familial love should have been. Denial flickered in my mind. Maybe it was a joke, a cruel prank, but their faces told otherwise. Elena's smirk widened. "Come on, Alex, don't look so shocked. You've been a burden forever. Dad's right, time to fly the nest." Her words were laced with false sympathy, but I caught the glint of satisfaction in her eyes. She'd always resented me, the favorite who never lived up to it. I pushed back from the table, the chair scraping harshly against the marble floor, a sound that grated like nails on my frayed nerves. "You think I'm nothing? That I can't survive without your handouts?" My voice rose, trembling with suppressed rage. Inside, fantasies swirled, storming out, wiring them millions just to watch their jaws drop, or better yet, exposing their hypocrisies. But doubt crept in. Had I brought this on myself by hiding? Was this my fault for not proving my worth sooner? Guilt mingled with the anger. I'd lied to them, even if for good reason. My mother finally spoke, her voice soft but unyielding. "We love you, Alex, but this is for your own good. You'll thank us one day." Love. The word tasted like ash. I grabbed the envelope and stormed upstairs, the staircase creaking under my pounding feet, each step fueling the obsession taking root in my chest. In my room, the door slammed shut with a finality that mirrored the fracture in my soul. The space was sparse. Bookshelves lined with tech manuals I'd devoured in secret, a hidden laptop under the floorboards where I'd built my fortune. I collapsed onto the bed, the cool silk sheets doing nothing to soothe the fire raging inside. Resentment built like a storm, memories flashing. Christmases where Dad berated me for not joining the family business, Elena's snide comments about my hobbies, Mom's passive nods. They'd never seen me, not really. And now, this exile on my birthday. It was more than rejection. It was erasure. My mind raced with plans. Vague at first, born of raw emotion. What if I bought out Dad's company? Exposed Elena's embezzlement from the family trust. I knew about it from hacking their emails years ago, a secret I'd kept out of misguided loyalty. But fear whispered, what if revenge made me like them? Cold, calculating, devoid of humanity. I paced the room, the moonlight filtering through the curtains casting long shadows that danced like specters of doubt. Hours ticked by, the house settling into uneasy silence, but sleep evaded me. Instead, obsession grew, a cold resolve hardening in my veins. They thought they could discard me. I'd make them regret it, but slowly, surgically. The next morning dawned gray and oppressive, the sky heavy with unshed rain that mirrored my turmoil. I packed a single duffel bag. Clothes, my hidden laptop, a few mementos that now felt tainted. Downstairs, the family awaited like executioners. Dad handed me a wad of cash, seed money. He called it, his eyes avoiding mine. Don't come back until you've made something of yourself. The words ignited fresh fury, but I swallowed it, forcing a nod. Elena hugged me perfunctorily, her perfume cloying, whispering, good luck out there, brother. Try not to fail too spectacularly. Manipulation dripped from her tone. She wanted me gone to secure her inheritance. Mom teared up, but her embrace was brief, laced with guilt she wouldn't voice. As the cab pulled away, the estate shrinking in the rearview, heartbreak gave way to a steely determination. At the airport, I didn't board the flight. Instead, I rented a car with cash, driving to a nondescript hotel in the city. There, in the dim light of a budget room smelling of stale coffee, I opened my laptop. Billions at my fingertips. Anonymous accounts, shell companies, a web of influence I'd woven in shadows. Planning began in earnest. A slow burn of strategy amid emotional chaos. I hacked into Dad's emails first, confirming what I'd suspected. Shady deals with offshore investors, skirting taxes, bribing officials. Elena's trail was sloppier, siphoning funds for her lavish lifestyle, affairs with married men in Dad's circle. Mom knew, her silence bought with comfort. Resentment festered, but so did moral conflict. Was I justified? Or was this descent into their level? Fantasies of justice warred with fear of consequences. What if it backfired, exposing me? I spent days in isolation. The hotel's hum of traffic outside a constant reminder of the world moving on without me. Subtle hints of vengeance emerged. Anonymous tips to auditors about Dad's finances, small at first, testing the waters. Doubt plagued me, nights of staring at the ceiling, heart pounding with guilt. But each memory of that birthday fueled the fire. I reached out to old contacts, billionaires who'd invested in my ventures unknowingly. I need dirt, I texted one, my fingers trembling. The response came quick. Leverage on Dad's rivals, ways to undermine without trace. Weeks blurred into a haze of calculation. I moved to a penthouse under a false name, the city's skyline a glittering backdrop to my schemes. Sensory details sharpened my resolve. The crisp snap of keyboard keys as I coded tracking software, the bitter taste of black coffee fueling all-nighters, the distant sirens wailing like omens. Inner thoughts churned, anger at their betrayal, humiliation replaying in loops, but also obsession with perfection. What if they suspected? Paranoia set in, every shadow a potential spy. Yet cold resolve won out. I started small, leaking a minor scandal about Elena's affair to a gossip blog, watching from afar as family tensions rose. Dad's calls to her, intercepted via my hacks, revealed cracks. Accusations, denials, suppressed rage bubbling. Suspense built quietly. They didn't know it was me, attributing it to bad luck. But I did, and that power was intoxicating, laced with guilt. Was this revenge or self-destruction? As months passed, the plan crystallized. I'd dismantle their empire piece by piece, using my wealth to buy allies, expose secrets. But doubt lingered. Could I pull the trigger without losing myself? The emotional journey was brutal, denial fading to acceptance, fantasies sharpening to blueprints. In quiet moments, heartbreak resurfaced, tears for the family I'd lost. Yet resentment drove me forward. The stage was set for retaliation, tension coiling like a spring. The first crack appeared subtly, like a hairline fracture in fine china. Dad's biggest deal, a luxury condo development, fell through when anonymous investors pulled out. I'd orchestrated it, funneling funds through shells to outbid him, my heart racing as I watched the news ticker from my penthouse perch. The city lights below pulsed like a living organism, the hum of traffic a distant roar that couldn't drown my inner turmoil. Guilt gnawed at me. Was this justice or pettiness? But the memory of that birthday envelope, the smirk on Elena's face, reignited the fury. I'd spent months building this web, each thread a calculated move amid waves of doubt. Now, as Dad's empire wobbled, obsession gripped tighter, a cold resolve pushing me despite the moral fog. Fear whispered of exposure. What if they traced it back? But I pressed on, the plan unfolding with cinematic precision. I monitored them closely, my hacks revealing fractured dialogues. Who the hell is sabotaging us? Dad barked in an intercepted call to Elena, his voice ragged with paranoia. The family office, once a hub of opulent confidence, now echoed with tension, the clink of whiskey glasses, heavy sighs, the rustle of frantic papers. Elena's response was sharp, laced with her own resentment. Maybe it's karma, Dad. You've stepped on enough toes. But I knew her secrets weighed on her. The leaked affair had cost her social standing, whispers following her at galas. Mom remained the silent observer, her emails to friends hinting at unease. Richard's under so much stress. I worry about his heart. Heart. The irony burned. My own heart ached with layered emotions. Heartbreak for the parents I'd idolized as a child, anger at their betrayal, humiliation replaying like a bad film. Yet, in quiet calculations over spreadsheets glowing on my screen, I found a twisted solace. Planning had become ritual. Cross-referencing financials, simulating outcomes, each click a step toward vengeance. Suspense simmered as I escalated subtly. A tip to the IRS about Dad's offshore accounts, anonymous, untraceable, triggered an audit. I imagined the scene. Agents in suits invading the estate, the crunch of gravel under their tires, Dad's face paling as files were seized. My inner thoughts warred brutally. This is deserved, they discarded you. But doubt crept. What if it destroys Mom? She's complicit but fragile. Moral conflict peaked during sleepless nights, the penthouse's sterile air heavy with isolation. Fantasies of confrontation played out, storming in, revealing my wealth, watching awe turn to horror. But no. Slow burn was key, letting tension build until they unraveled from within. I hired private investigators, their reports painting layered portraits. Dad's motivations rooted in his own father's abandonment, pushing him to toughen me. Elena's greed masking insecurity from always being second best. Mom's guilt from enabling it all, trapped in luxury's cage. Dialogue sharpened the edges. An overheard family dinner via bug devices. Alex would never do this, Mom murmured, her voice trembling. Elena scoffed. Alex? He's probably begging on streets. This is your enemy's, Dad. Suppressed rage in Dad's reply. If it is him, God help him. The threat fueled my resolve, but also fear. Paranoia of discovery making me double-check encryptions. The keyboard's tactile clicks a grounding force. Sensory details anchored the chaos. The metallic tang of takeout in my solitary meals, the cool glass of the window against my forehead as I stared at the horizon, plotting. Revenge felt morally gray, justified in my pain, shocking in its scope. I bought shares in Dad's company anonymously, positioning for a takeover, each transaction a quiet victory laced with obsession. As the noose tightened, external action mirrored inner storm. Elena's embezzlement surfaced in a leaked document to board members, her denials frantic in emails. It's a setup. Someone's framing me. Dad's health faltered under stress. Hospital visits noted in my surveillance. Guilt surged, am I a monster? But resentment overpowered, they started this. Pacing intensified, moments of quiet before pivots. A forged partnership dissolving, leaving them exposed. Tension rose palpably. They hired security, whispers of a ghost haunting them. My emotional journey deepened. Denial long gone, now a cocktail of cold calculation and flickering humanity. What if I stopped? But the betrayal's scar throbbed, pushing forward. The climax built to a fever pitch. I arranged an anonymous meeting, luring Dad to a neutral cafe under pretense of an investor. The setting was vivid. Rain-slicked streets reflecting neon, the aroma of espresso mingling with damp earth. He arrived haggard, suit rumpled, eyes scanning warily. I watched from shadows, heart pounding. But I didn't reveal yet. Instead, I triggered the final blow. A press release from my shell company announcing the acquisition of Hargrove Realty. Chaos ensued. Stocks plummeted, creditors called loans. Back home, intercepted screams. "We're ruined," Elena wailed. "How could this happen?" Dad's broken reply. "It's him. It has to be Alex." Revelation dawned, suspense peaking. In the dramatic payoff, I confronted them at the estate, now mortgaged to the hilt. The door opened to shock me in tailored suit, exuding the wealth they'd never suspected. "Surprise," I said coolly, voice steady despite inner turmoil. Dialogue erupted. "You bastard," Dad growled, but defeat in his eyes. Elena's tears. "How? You were nothing." Mom's whisper. "We were wrong, Alex. Forgive us." Emotions collided. Triumph but hollow. The twist. As I turned to leave, handing them a folder of evidence that could send them to prison or spare them, I revealed my own moral grayness. "I could destroy you utterly," I said. "But I'm not you." I walked away, wiring just enough to keep them afloat, not out of mercy, but to let them live with the knowledge. Poetic justice. They begged for more, but I vanished, their empire crumbs. Yet, in the car's leather seat, guilt crashed. Revenge's cost was my soul's isolation. Unexpected consequence. A letter from Mom later, confessing Dad's terminal illness. Hidden to protect me. Heartbreak renewed. Had I hastened it? The pursuit ended, but scars lingered, a psychologically resonant echo.